Salutations, respected viewers. This is George from Ireland. In this video, I'm going to explain the libertarian authoritarian axis. So people sometimes ask to locate themselves politically. Are they left-wing? Are they right-wing? Are they libertarian? Are they authoritarian? Because suppose they're two axes, like an x-axis and a y-axis, and finding yourself in a graph. It's an imperfect model, but it's something. So what is libertarianism? Libertarianism is believing in minimal government, in the government only being allowed to exercise such powers as are absolutely necessary, and not interfering, no social engineering, not trying to help people, running emergency services. That's it, the night watchman state. The United Kingdom in the 18th century was more or less like that. Didn't even have any publicly funded fire brigade, no police force. Parishes had parish constables, so on the way to a police force. Then the army, the navy, that was about it. All right, there were established churches. That was one of the big exceptions to libertarianism. Here the state was intervening, or interfering if you like. Now, authoritarianism is the opposite end of that, believing that there should be a big state. The government should have extensive powers. It's the government's prerogative to intervene, to do good, however one defines that, to help people, to sort out problems, to be proactive, to control people, to monitor people, to collate data, and having captured all this information, to use it for the public good. So anything which is of utility to the wider public should be done by the government. The government has the right to prevent this, to order you to do that, and so on. So the nanny state, people sometimes call it, and it can be limitless, controlling, spying, ordering, regulating, forbidding. So libertarianism, it can be summed up as being about choice. It's also about pleasure, individual rights, so forth. Authoritarianism can be summed up as being about safety. To some extent it's about security as well. I distinguish between the two. Safety is hazards, things that occur to you accidentally. Security is protecting you from human malice, whether domestic or an enemy in time of war. And authoritarianism is about the common weal. What's good for the majority, the community. So probably the best example which to examine these two paradigms is looking at the speed limit, because there's a trade-off between them. You're going to go towards more libertarianism, or you can go towards more authoritarianism, but you can't have more of both. You can't have less of both either. It's a trade-off. It's a sliding scale, this way and that way. So, speed limit. Let's take the motorways in the United Kingdom, 70 miles an hour. Now, that's something of a balance, a bit more towards the authoritarian side. The libertarian would say, well, let's put it higher. Let's put it to 80 miles an hour, giving people more choice. You don't have to go 80, giving people more pleasure driving fast, and promoting their individual rights. The authoritarian might say, well, wait a second, that's too fast. That's raising the risk of accidents and deaths. The libertarian said, well, that's all right. The authoritarian might say, well, let's lower it to 60 miles an hour, fewer injuries, fewer deaths, and that's promoting the common good. The libertarian might say, no, that's really wrong. The authoritarian might riposte, all right then, why raise it to 80? Why not 90? And the libertarian might say, all right, we'll raise it to 90. I want a speed limit of 90 miles an hour, even if that means more injuries or deaths, because we believe in freedom, it's choice of the individual. The authoritarian might reply, well, you can have no choice once you're dead. And how about injury? You know, you're a paraplegic, your choices are severely circumscribed. So, you're raising it too much. This is too dangerous. In fact, I don't want to lower it to 60, I want to lower it to 50 miles an hour. Fewer deaths, fewer injuries, more government control. We need to do that for the benefit of the majority. The authoritarian would say, no, you're intruding too much on individual rights. You're arrogating this power to regulate to great an extent, and you care too much about safety. If you're going to lower it to 50, why don't you go all the way and lower the speed limit to 40? The authoritarian might say, yeah, fine. My response is, I want to lower it to 40, because okay will be slower, it'll be more inefficient, but you know what? It'll save lives. And anything that saves lives has got to be a good thing. So we'll take away choice and the pleasure of driving fast, the convenience of driving fast, because it's worth it. And the greatest loss of liberty is the loss of life, and actually we're promoting liberty by preventing injury and death. And by the way, you authoritarian, you wanted to raise it to 90. Why don't you go all the way, raise it to 100, if that's what you believe? Yeah, if you don't seem to care about health and safety, the libertarian might say, yeah, you're right. I want to raise it to 100. Let's have it 100 miles an hour, speed limit on the motorway, because it's more convenient for people to get to their destination. So long as you don't crash, then there should be any crime to go 100 miles an hour. Some people can do so safely. We're not going to force you to go 100 miles an hour. We're going to give you the choice. You select your speed within reason. And we'll give you the fun of driving that fast, because we're about individual rights. And that's what a free society is. Choice. And by the way, you authoritarian, you said 40 miles an hour. You know, if you're that much of an extremist about safety and such a scaredy cat, why don't you lower it to 30 miles an hour on the runway? On the motorway, these very wide, very straight roads. The authoritarian might say, all right, good point. I do want to lower it to 30 miles an hour. So we'll go very slow, very safe. Almost nobody gets injured or killed, and that's it. Yeah. And by the way, you're carrying it to the fair. If you're so extreme in your belief, Mr. Libertarian, about not caring about death or injury on the roads, and only about choice, as you call it, why do you go up to 110 miles an hour? Are you that crazy? To which the libertarian might say, yeah, in fact, I believe so strongly in this that I want to raise it to 110. Yeah, 110 miles an hour is the speed limit on the motorway, and there'll be more deaths, more injuries, but you know it's worth it because that's what freedom is, taking a risk. Yeah, and we don't be so namby-pamby and nanny state and such good control freaks as to stop people driving fast. You can drive fast, you can do it safely, it's fine. We only live once, enjoy it. And by the way, Mr. Authoritarian, you know, if you're such a nutter about safety and health and all the rest of it, why do you try and lower it to 20 miles an hour on the motorway? And the authoritarian would say, you know what, you're right, because health and safety matters so much on the motorway, on these very wide, multi-lane, very straight roads. Let's put it down to 20, because even if it saves only one life, it's worth it, because human life is sacred. We just can't do enough. You can't be safe enough. You've got to go all the way down to 20, very, very slow. So I know it's going to take hours to get from London to Manchester. Instead of 2 hours, it's going to take like 6 hours or something, but that's worth it. And by the way, Mr. Libertarian, if you're such an ultra when it comes to personal choice, you don't care about the common weal at all, why don't you go all the way? You go the whole hog, that's it. Propose 120 miles an hour as the speed limit. And the libertarians say, all right then, you've said it. I want the speed limit to be 120 miles an hour on the speed limit, because I don't care about health and safety so much. I care about the individual, his or her right to choose how fast to drive, and that's what matters. And that is choice. This is what liberty means. So I'm allowing people to do as they want, and we're not going to be so overreacting to these tiny risks. And so then, by the way, Mr. Authoritarian, you know, if you are so het up about speed limit, you're so fixated with it, come on, go all the way. Propose a speed limit going down to 10 miles an hour on the motorway. And the the authoritarian will say, you know what, I agree with you. Let's put the speed limit on motorways down to 10 miles an hour. Be pootling very slowly indeed in your automobile. But then there'll be no deaths, probably even no injuries, because you can't do enough about safety. You know, you only live once, and death is forever. And no measure is too extreme. We must be hyper cautious about that. And by the way, Mr. Libertarian, if you're such a nutcase and so utterly obsessed with speed and personal liberty and autonomy and all the rest of it, and you don't care a fig for safety, why don't you go to the logical conclusion and go up to 120 miles an hour as your proposed speed limit? And the libertarians say, okay, you know, I agree with you. Let's have a speed limit of 120 miles an hour on the motorway, because that's what matters. And by the way, authoritarian, if you are so monomaniacal about safety, why don't you say, just like ban cars, ban all motor vehicles because they're all dangerous, and the tiniest risk of the slightest injury to anyone is unacceptable. And the authoritarians say, you know what, I agree with you, because we can't allow any risk at all. We will never take risks with public safety. Let's have no automobiles whatsoever. It's a crime to possess one, to drive one, and that way we'll promote the common good. It will be good for the public, and what matters is safety. And the government has the right to have this authority, to exercise this authority, and to criminalise anyone who drives a car. And by the way, you, Mr. Libertarian, come on, go all the way. If this is your line of argument, why do you propose abolishing speed limits on the motorway? You can go 300 miles an hour if you had the blue bird, and not on the motorway, on any street, on any suburban street, narrow, twisty alleyway, they can go as fast as they want. So long as they don't kill or injure anyone, it's not a crime. Inevitably, some of them will kill and injure people, but the speed isn't a problem. There'll be way more deaths and injuries, but that's freedom according to you. And the libertarians say, you know what? I concur. There should be no restrictions on speed whatsoever on any road, no matter how narrow, twisty, or windy, because we believe in liberty. That is personal autonomy. You can have the fun of driving as fast as you want. You choose. That's it. Now, I would step in and say, gentlemen, ladies, please, calm down. This is a bit extreme. What we need is a trade-off. What we need to do is to strike a balance. We don't need to follow a line of reasoning to its intellectual or philosophical vanishing point. No more logical absolutism. We need to find the happy medium. 70 miles an hour, that's about right. That's what the United Kingdom has. Bit low in my estimation. I lean towards the libertarian side. Some will say a bit high, but come on, we don't need to go all the way. But that, in a nutshell, is what libertarianism and authoritarianism are about. That debate on any issue could be on drugs, could be on guns, could be on age limits to do with alcohol or pornography or sexual age of consent, or to do with fireworks, to do with the government's right to spy, to do with what you eat in school or what you eat at all, to do with medicines, to do with when age you're allowed to leave school, to do with fire safety, almost anything that the government regulates. There's a libertarian authoritarian debate and a sliding scale, and people are not necessarily totally consistent. Might be libertarian on guns, authoritarian on drugs. You could be libertarian on tobacco, authoritarian on pornography. You could be libertarian on speed limits, but authoritarian on the government's right to spy on people. So that's it. That is what libertarianism and authoritarianism are, and that's how there is a trade-off between these two schools of thought on any issue where there's possible danger or harm to the public.